Hey, what's up, gang? Thanks for joining me. So I was about to read some tarot, and the universe has guided me to explain to you the initiation process of preparing the body to house divine consciousness. So I'm just going to share with you, what I've been going through, what it took for me to get to a place where you can channel. So one of the first things about 8 months ago, I got the distinct feeling that my body was out of alignment, that things were not feeling right, that the energy level was really super low. So I started with fasting, and I started with changing my diet. I went to a raw, natural diet. I only drink alkaline water. I did this for about 3 months, and then I started practicing yoga, Kundalini yoga, raising the energy in the body. And then after that, it was a period where I went through silencing the mind. So sitting in meditation as long as you can. One of the things that comes up first is the ego space. So flipping that ego space is going to be your priority. And this is something that is everybody is supposed to do. This is the route for everybody that they need to take this route. This is not just for some people. This is the road to enlightenment. Enlightenment is for everyone. So silencing the mind, sitting in meditation, and when you have thoughts come up and arise, not reacting to them. So you have to think about your mind as like a pond, right? And so every time you throw a thought in there, it creates a ripple effect, right? And so it keeps generating more thoughts and more thoughts. So once you start silencing the mind, not responding to the thoughts, the ego will start to take a back seat, right? So the ego will still be there, but it's more of a silent ego. So one of the things that most people deal with right now, where they're at, everybody lives in a feminine energy, right? So it's always the fear-based energy coming from the top of the head. Everybody. So this stems from the trauma that they've occurred in their childhood. Every person that you know has been through some kind of trauma in their lifetime that has sustained in the body, because that's what creates the personality and creates the ego, right? So this is what you need to overcome. So when you silence the mind, this is going to bring forth flipping the ego space, right? So think about it like this. So instead of having your mind always randomly going, thinking about everything, I'm going to grab my lighter. I'm going to go in there and wash clothes. I need to do this tomorrow. What does my boss think of me? Why did that girl say that to me? Things like this, all that goes away, right? So when you flip that ego space, you're allowing a space for divine consciousness to come through, right? So in replace of the ego space, you're going to get pretty much like the best friend that you ever had cheering you on with on-point insight to things in your life, to things you can change, things you can do better, ways to become better. The sky's the limit. You can take that to as far as you want to go. So after that, I started using a pendulum, right? So this will help you understand what is the ego space and what is divine consciousness, right? So you need to start making that distinction when you get to that point, because it can be kind of confusing, right? Most people aren't used to having a best friend in the back seat cheering them on, right? So when you flip that, use a pendulum, and you can ask what is divine consciousness coming out through your thought space, and then what is the ego space. And then once you can make the decision and decipher between the two, that's when it gets really interesting, because the mind will go silent. I mean, when I'm walking around, there are no thoughts going through my head. When I'm sitting here, there are only thoughts going through my head is what I push into reality, right? So there is no blah, 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 constantly. I know people lay awake at night for hours because they can't rest their mind, right? So if you want to get past that point, this is what you do. I'm going to make a part 2 after this.